for me reading, I think it was Community or Chaos. King talks about, well, he talks about it in several places, but he talks about nonviolence or non-existence because of the atom bomb, and that's the real choice that we have to make. And that was very dominant in my mind, especially during those Bush years in 04 and 05. Uh, that was a very real possibility, and that individual terrorism was something that we had to address, and we did not have a nonviolent answer to that. And so that's what led me to New Orleans, along with it being sort of a center of art and music, and seeing people kind of coming together, help rebuild a great American city during that time. And so, when I moved down here, I had never lived in a city. And well, I guess I lived in Annapolis, but it was very much like, you're a college student kind of on the outskirts. But yeah, so I basically just was proclaiming Socratic ignorance, and decided that I knew nothing. I knew that I knew nothing. That's the only thing I knew. And so I needed to ask questions. I needed to ask what happened, uh, why was this happening, who was this happening to, what can be done to stop it. And these are all things that I think that, if I grew up in New Orleans, I would already have answers to, or people would have given me answers to. But because I was an outsider, I did not have answers. I had some type of vague, you know, understanding of what might be happening, right? But that wasn't anything that I could set my feet on. And so I inquired, and the way I went about doing it was, uh, I got a list of the murder victims in 2007 and their next of kin contact. And so what I did was I started a thing called the Moment of Silence on Martin Luther King Boulevard, which was basically remembering every person who was lost to violence since Katrina in New Orleans, and remembering them through silence and through story, sometimes through song, and through a gift of love, a gift of peace, that we offer this the family. And so what that entailed was going to these next of kin, calling them up out of the blue, and with a 908 phone number, which is the hardest thing to do when you're in 504. You're lucky if people pick up, and explain what I'm doing, and basically inviting myself over to meet with the next of kin, which usually was the mother. And so I did that for 50 families, and I would go and listen to the stories of these mostly young men, who were shot and killed. And I would clear the whole day and just talk with this mother for usually, 2, 3 hours. Sometimes it lasted 5, 6. And then it was another conversation with maybe another family member. But what was so interesting about it was that they would tell me I was the only person that had ever called about it. And that was profound to me, that no one had reached out to this person at all, outside of, obviously the family. But a complete stranger was doing that. And that was, I had I think that was a profound thing that I got to give to these mothers, because I think that helped a lot of their healing. And because of that, I think because I was just kind of vulnerable, and they would open up about everything. I mean, it was just amazing, the stories they would tell, and they all had a Katrina story, so that was always like eye opening. And so I would just experience their life, for 6 hours. And at this point, I'm a writer. So I'm writing everything down, and I'm making a story. And these stories got longer and longer, as I got more and more comfortable in the world that they were presenting to me. And so, yeah, I learned a ton from those conversations. And